Some engines come and go, but a select few are built to last forever. These legendary European inline-sixes have powered icons, racked up insane mileage, and earned a rep for being damn near indestructible. But what makes them so tough, and which ones truly stand the test of time? Let's get into it. BMW N54, N55. Back in 2006, BMW dropped the N54 engine, and it was a total game-changer. This was BMW's first mass-produced turbocharged gas engine in over 30 years, but here's the kicker. BMW had actually dabbled in turbo tech way back in 1973 with the 2002 Turbo. That little beast helped spark the turbo obsession we see today. Fast forward to 2009, and BMW rolled out the N55 to take over for the N54. The biggest change? The N54 had two turbos, while the N55 rocked a single twin-scroll turbo, which still delivered serious power. The N54 also had a different system for handling the wastegate and blow-off valve. But when you break it down, these two engines are practically twins. Both pack about 300 horsepower, loads of torque, and a bunch of high-tech features like a special air cooler, a strong fuel pump, variable valve timing, and an electric water pump. And if you're into tuning, these engines can go crazy. With the right upgrades, they can push over 800 horsepower. Overall, the N55 is likely more reliable. BMW fine-tuned a lot of things to improve quality. Sure, it might not tune as high as the N54 or quite as aggressive, but it's a rock-solid engine with fewer headaches. Mercedes-Benz M103, M104. Back in the day, Mercedes-Benz was making some legendary engines, and two that really stood out were the M103 and M104. These inline-six powerhouses kept Mercs running strong from the 70s through the 90s. The M103 made its debut in 1975, and then, in 1986, the M104 took things up a notch. Both were known for their smooth performance, solid reliability, and plenty of power under the hood. Now here's where things get interesting. These engines were originally designed as flat six engines, meaning the cylinders were laid out horizontally. That setup made the car feel more balanced and easier to handle. The M103 was a 3.0-liter beast, while the M104 flexed a bigger 4.2-liter size. Both ran overhead camshafts, allowing for more precise valve timing, making them efficient and powerful. They also came with electronic fuel injection, delivering just the right amount of fuel for better performance and fuel economy. Plus, Mercedes made sure they were cleaner for the environment with catalytic converters, exhaust gas recirculation, and oxygen sensors. These engines were smooth, quick, and built to last. The M103 in particular was a tank. Mercedes wasn't playing when it came to quality, crafting these engines with durability in mind. Sure, they needed regular maintenance, but if you see a Mercedes from the 80s or 90s still pushing 300,000 miles, there's a good chance it's rocking an M103. BMW M30 B35 3.5-liter. The M30 engine is one of BMW's most legendary power plants, and for good reason. It wasn't their first straight six after the war, but it was definitely one of the longest running. BMW started building this thing in 1968 and just kept refining it over the years. For decades, if you were driving a six-cylinder BMW, there was a good chance an M30 was powering it. The late 70s and 80s brought some of the most powerful versions. The M90, for example, shared the same block as the legendary M88 race engine. Then there was the M30 B35, known for having the smoothest idle of them all. But here's the beauty of the M30, almost every version is easy to tune. A better exhaust and upgraded carburetors can instantly wake it up. Over the years, BMW kept pushing this engine to new heights. It started as a 2.5-liter and eventually grew to a massive 4.0-liter. Fuel injection came in 1971, making it even better, and BMW didn't stop there. Turbochargers entered the mix. The 745i had BMW's own turbocharged setup, but the real monster was the Alpina B10 Turbo, an insanely powerful beast. Depending on the model, power varied a lot. Early carbureted versions put out around 150 horsepower, while the M30 B35 and the E34 535i cranked that up to 210. Then there was the M90, which meant business with 215 horsepower. Jaguar XK6. When you think of Jaguar, super reliable probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind, but here's the twist. Their XK6 engine, dating all the way back to the late 1940s, was a legend in British car history. This wasn't just any engine, it was a big straight six with twin overhead cams, and Jaguar kept it in production all the way until 1992. That's nearly 5 decades of staying power. Built like a tank, the XK6 had a tough iron block, but Jaguar kept things light on top with an aluminum cylinder head. It came in different sizes, ranging from 2.4 liters to 4.2 liters, cranking out anywhere from 112 to 265 horsepower. But when Jaguar built racing versions, those things were absolute beasts, pushing out way more power for their race cars. This engine was a fan favorite. People loved how smoothly it delivered power, how lightweight it was, and surprisingly how reliable it turned out to be. If the XK6 sounds familiar, you've probably seen it in the legendary E-Type sports car from the 1960s. Jaguar offered it in 3.8 and 4.2-liter versions, making the E-Type one of the most iconic cars of its era. Then, in the 1970s, Jaguar gave the engine a fresh redesign and dropped it into the XJ6, positioning it as the more affordable alternative to the XJ6's V12 powerhouse. BMW N52 2009 and older models. The N52 engine marked the end of an era, BMW's last naturally aspirated inline-six, and when it comes to reliability, this one stands out as the best from its time. You'll find it powering a bunch of BMW models from 2004 to 2015, and for good reason. BMW went all out with the N52, making a bold move by using a magnesium aluminum engine block for the first time. This wasn't just some minor tweak, it was a game changer. But like any great innovation, it had its quirks. If you're thinking about getting one, aim for a 2009 or older model. The earlier versions had a known issue with the lifters, and fixing it meant replacing the entire head. Definitely not cheap. That said, if you take care of it, this engine will reward you. Sure, once you pass the 200,000-mile mark, it'll need some investment to keep running strong, but don't let that fool you. It's more than capable of going the distance. It definitely can. BMW B58 S58 2022 Plus. The BMW B58 isn't just the best inline-six out there, it's one of BMW's biggest flexes. They basically brought the straight six back from the dead, and now everyone wants in. So what makes the B58 so good? Well, for starters, it's built like a tank. The engine block is aluminum with a rock-solid closed-deck design, kinda like the legendary 2JZ. And BMW didn't cut corners on the internals. This thing's got forged crankshafts and connecting rods, making it nearly indestructible. 400 horsepower? No problem. The B58 does it effortlessly. Then there's the S58, the monster lurking under the hood of the new BMW M2, M3, M4, X3M, and X4M. Think of it as the B58's bigger, badder sibling. About 80% of the internals are different, built even stronger with a lower compression ratio, a beefy crankshaft, and forged male pistons. This S58 engine is an absolute engineering masterpiece. It's one of the most insane engines you'll find in any car that's legal to drive on the road. You could search high and low, and you'd be hard-pressed to find an engine that can compete with the S58 pound for pound. Mercedes-Benz OM606. Introduced in the mid-1990s, the Mercedes-Benz OM606 was built to last, often outliving the very cars it came in. If durability had a poster child, the OM606 would be front and center. Under the hood, you've got a rock-solid 3.0-liter diesel engine that many consider Mercedes' finest. It's built from cast iron. Yeah, it's heavier than aluminum, but that extra weight comes with serious strength. This thing is built to rack up hundreds of thousands of miles without breaking a sweat. One of its coolest features? The fuel injection system. Instead of relying on modern electronic gadgets, the OM606 sticks to a medical pump made by Bosch. Newer engines are packed with high-end electronics, but this one keeps it old school, and that's a good thing. Fewer electronics mean fewer headaches, making it a dream for DIY mechanics who want to keep their rides running without a trip to the dealership. Now, this engine isn't about speed. It won't be winning any drag races, but the turbocharged versions pack a decent punch. What really makes the OM606 shine, though, is its insane longevity. Take care of it, and it'll be going for hundreds of thousands of miles. That's why people love swapping these engines into off-road rigs. They're just that reliable and powerful. BMW M88. When you think of legendary inline-six engines, the BMW M88 is at the top of the list. Built from 1986 to 1988, this powerhouse showed up in models like the M3 and M6, earning a reputation as one of the best inline-six engines ever made. What made it special? A mix of raw power, cutting-edge design, and that signature BMW feel. The M88 wasn't just strong, it was smooth. With 256 horsepower and 300 Newton-meters of torque, this thing could move. Whether you were launching from a stop or cruising on the highway, the power was always there. And let's talk about the sound. This engine had that deep, aggressive growl that made every drive feel like a special occasion. BMW doesn't play when it comes to durability, and the M88 was built like a tank. It could handle hard driving without breaking a sweat thanks to high-quality parts like forged pistons and connecting rods. The cooling system was top-tier too, with 2 radiators and a fan making sure things never got too hot. And here's the surprise. The M88 wasn't just about speed, it was efficient too. A smart fuel injection system ensured it only used what it needed, and its lightweight design helped save gas. BMW even offered tuning options to make it even more fuel efficient if you wanted. Thanks for watching, and see you at the next one.